So this perspective of one of two sides, either superior or inferior, people can get confused into thinking that if you see the inferior and you see the superior, that you can make a decision, but you decide one or the other. And what I'm talking about, I think, is hinted at by what I came across in Joseph Campbell, his statements about some statements James Joyce made about binocular vision, seeing both simultaneously, seeing both worlds, both valuations. I think it was Campbell that said, one man's God is another man's devil. And being able to see both of these together is very important. A synthesis occurs. And trying to gather my thoughts this morning. This synthesis can bring about what is required of the mind is to go past the opposites, the dualities. I think Joyce called them contrary antipathies. Now, science and empiricism is firmly rooted in space and time, what empirically exists. And I understand from my experience that it's very common that some kind of shock occurs that requires the mind, that can occur to an individual, that requires the mind to go past ultimatums, the ultimate in space and time. The requirement to make a decision seems related to this too. The requirement to make a decision comes back down to free will. The affirmation that we as individuals have inherent existence that requires of us to have our own free will. And from where I'm coming at this point, which I have still a lot to learn, but I have this experience that I have reached ultimatums in my life that have required of me to integrate both the good and the bad, take the good with the bad kind of thing, and take the bad with the good as well. And I realize that there are many people who fight against this, who resist that place. That ultimately, as I was reading Signature in the Cell by Stephen Meyer, there were points in his exposition that he was trying to show how futile it is for some origin theories to they have these mind-boggling numbers, these huge numbers, 10 to the 37th power, negative 37th power, and stuff like this, and the mind dissolves at a certain point. There's only so much it can take. There's only so much it can conceive. And my experiences in my own little way have found that I have had experiences that took me to that ultimate, absolute threshold, where to go past it all of that which I thought was real dissolves. And I had an experience over and over that in that next phase, that past that threshold of reality, empirical reality, there is a unity, to put a term on it, that brings a great sense of release from the stress that that was met in making a decision, in this belief that we have a free will in which we must decide. Now, if we stay within a certain level of decision making and don't go past our personal levels of what is right and wrong, if we stay within that, we're safe and we can be very productive. But if we go past it, a realization can be had of a unity, and at that point what I've come to personally realize is that it can seem as though everything means nothing at all, but this is just a symptom of a mind that is in shock. It's there's something wonderful in life that is full of wonder, and I think we each find our own level of wonderful. I have had an experience where I go past the surface to deeper experiences, and the being caught up in stuff falls away, but an understanding, a deeper realized understanding of the importance of the stuff is informed to me. So it's as if the stuff is there, it really doesn't matter, but by going past, and you get a hint at how all the stuff is wonderful, full of wonder. And it's almost as if you bring the spirit of life to the stuff of time and all the phenomena. And what this does is that when people are caught up in making decisions of what is right and what is wrong, and being upset about the wrong and being happy about the right, that could be very stressful. Right now we're in a political, religious, economic, and social upheavals are all caught up in the stress of what's right and what's wrong, and making a free will choice, and that we've got to make the right choice and all this. And I, however, look at the social, political, economic, and religious stuff as schools of learning that will gently take the mind past the upheavals to a place of unity, and you realize, wow, this is just more of the multiplicity in the world. There's many religions, many economies, many theories of the origins, many, and all these are just schools preparing the mind to go past. And the stress I'm relieved of. When I go past that, I'm relieved of the stress. But then when I come back, it's as if I'm conditioned with a perspective that enables a state of tension to be lived happily in. And even the sorrows can be integrated and embraced as a part of my learning and a part of my further growth. But when the stress is there, the growth stops. The stress creates this rigidity, and things get tight and clenched, and the flow is hindered in a stressful situation. So in a high form of condition, we can endure a state of tension in a very highly productive and effective manner. Whereas when we're not prepared and ready, it becomes stressful and anxiety ridden.